Hi guys, so great evening. How are you doing? Welcome to another exciting upgrade mastery just for you. Yes, this is the upgrade mastery just for you, Mr. Upgrade. And like we do this every Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we basically get to just share our experiences from the week, the things we learned, the things that stood out for us, challenges we faced, how we're able to overcome them, and everything in between, right? Because this is Friday, like they say, thank God it's Friday. So we're here. How are you doing? It was another amazing week. How are you doing? What did you do this week? What were the challenges that you faced? How are you able to overcome those challenges? What actually stood out for you? What are the things that really made sense for you this week? So it was an amazing week for me, right? I had an amazing training sessions that was ah phenomenal as always. We always deliver this unique experience when we do sessions and people just can't get enough of it, right? So sometime this week, I got contacted to do some trainings, and it was phenomenal. And one of the things that stood out for me this week for the trainings was the fact that there's something we did in a previous training last month, and we talked about it this month, and we saw the same results happen, like the same results. I won't tell you what it is because if you're not in the training, you probably would understand it. But we got the same result. Like it is just amazing just seeing what was happening at the training. So it was an amazing week for me. And this week also we hit the 16 million plays um, on the podcast, which is still growing by the day. I was just grateful to God for all that He's doing with us through the podcast to the world. We're just amazing. We're just grateful, right? And then I also got the opportunity to also minister at the chapel service at Benson Auto University, and it was just mind blowing. Talking about focus and priority, it was just phenomenal, right? So this week has just been from back to back training and all of those things. It was amazing. Nature it was amazing. That was my week, but it's not about me because it's upgrade mastery just for you, right? So tell me about your week. What was your week like? What did you do this week? What did you learn? What stood out for you this week? What challenges you faced? How were you able to overcome the challenges? Yeah, I almost had an accident this week. Yeah, I almost had an accident, a car accident this week. But God was faithful. It didn't happen, right? Almost had an accident, and you have been catastrophic. Right? But God was just merciful, as always. God was merciful. So that was my week. How was your week? What did you do this week? What was the challenges that you faced? What were the difficulties that you had to go through? What was it all like for you this week? Tell me about your week. I really want to know about your week. What's it like for you? Tell me. Let's know. Let's hear about it. Let's hear about your week. You know, while we wait for you to share what your week was like, let's talk about our belief systems that we had during this week. This week was an amazing week for the belief system, right? It was something that really resonated with me all through the week, and we just happened to share in that line because we believe that this will help a lot of people when you get to watch this so that it can really help kickstart their upgrade journey, or also push the needle for them, those who are already on their upgrade journey, right? And so this week we started out by talking about commit to learning. People think learning is just when you're in school. People think that, oh, learning is just when you're in the university, so you have to pass your exams. That's when you only do learning. But there's so much to learning, and that's why today's conversation at the end of the review of the belief system is going to be about learning, because we really need people to understand what learning is all about and why it's important for them to actually be learning. So we started off this week belief system by talking about commit to learning. Commit to learning. And what was the whole idea behind commit to learning? Please, if you are just joining us, let us know where you're joining us from. Thank you so much for being here. We're truly glad to have you join us on the Upgrade Mastery just for you with Mr. Upgrade, right? I'm glad to have you. Thank you. Now, in committing to learning, we started off the conversation by saying whatever you commit to will always you will always see the outcome. Whatever you commit to, you always see the outcome. It is in your best interest when you commit to learning. You know, as part of the session that I had this week, I talked about interest, personal interest, corporate interest, organizational interest, and all of those things. And I let people know that many times people are always listening to the WIIFM. What is the need for me? FM, right? And that tells you that people many times are all about their interests. So I say that, like they talk about in politics, there are no permanent enemies, no permanent friends, only permanent interests, right? So in commit to learning, we say that whatever you commit to, you would see the outcome. So it is in your best interest that you commit to learning. It's in your best interest that you commit to learning. You're not doing it for anyone. You're not doing it as a favor to anyone. It's in your best interest that you commit to learning. And we use the example where Paul was speaking to Timothy when he says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believer in words, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity, till I come. Give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Meditate upon these things. Give thyself entirely to them, that thy profiting will appear to all. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them. For in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee." Right? Pushing that forward, it says, practice and cultivate and meditate upon these duties. Throw yourself wholly into them as your ministry, so that your progress may be evident to everybody. It is always evident when you commit to learning. And we went further to say there are three simple ways you can commit to learning. Number one, reading. You know, people who are in the university, they will always say that after exams, even signboard, they will not read. They don't know that they are failing to commit to learning. Number two, listen to podcasts and watch videos. And that's why you have the Let's Talk podcast with Emmanuel, with over 16 million plays and counting, with over 117 episodes. Listen to podcasts. Listen to podcasts. Right? And number three, engage in intelligent conversations. When you have intelligent conversations, it's a proof that you are committing to learning. Right? And went on to say, when you commit to learning, learning becomes enjoyable. The process becomes measurable, and the growth becomes durable when you commit to learning. We went on to say, you really do not commit to learning if you are not learning something every day. Now, a proof that you commit to learning is that you are learning something every day. So what are you learning today? What shows that you commit to learning is that every single day you are learning something. And we went on to say that commit to learning because it is one commitment that pays the most. Commit to learning because it is one commitment that pays the most. And we said that people can commit to several things, but the wise always commit to learning. Now, people can commit to anything, but the wise always commit to learning. And we went on to say, learning is lifelong. And when you commit to learning, it is lifelong progress and upgrade. So, guys, it's important that you commit to learning. I went on from there to talk about Opportunities for learning. Now we've said, okay, commit to learning. What then are the opportunities to learning? What are the opportunities to learning that are available? What are they? And we went on to explain the opportunities for learning, right? And we said every day holds possibilities and opportunities for learning. It now depends on what you want to learn each day. Every day holds the possibilities and opportunities for learning. It now depends on what you want to learn each day, right? And we said in scripture, when Elijah, while we commend Elijah for his exploits, we must not fail to recognize the opportunities for learning that he experienced. We must not fail to recognize the opportunity for learning that the experiences brought to him. I'll give you a case in point. You know, after Elijah had declared that there will be no rain for the space of 3.5 years, guess what? Guess what? God gave him an instruction and said, go to the brook Cherith, for I commanded the ravens to feed you. And then soon enough, the brook dried up, and then God gave him a new instruction to go to Zarephath, for I commanded a widow to sustain you. Now, what we see from this was, if Elijah was not open to the opportunities for learning, he would have been stuck with what God has said and not what God is saying. You know, a lot of people are holding on to what God said and not what God is saying because they are not looking out for the opportunities for learning. Now, the same God who told Abraham to take his son Isaac, his only son, to the mount that he will show him to sacrifice him. While Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, God told him to stop. That there was a ram caught in the thicket, sacrifice the ram instead. Now, if Abraham had continued to say, oh, God told me to sacrifice Isaac, and went on to kill Isaac, Abraham would have done disobedience to God. Why? You must see the opportunities for learning, to know what God has said and what God is saying. God told Abraham, sacrifice Isaac. At another point, God told him, don't sacrifice Isaac anymore. Sacrifice the ram caught in the thicket. Is this making sense? Now, everyone who wishes to be led by God must be open to opportunities for learning. And we said there are 3 simple ways to spot opportunities for learning. How do you know that these are opportunities for learning? There are 3 simple ways to spot it. Number 1, it fuels passion inside you. The passion that it fuels inside you tells you that this is an opportunity for learning. Number 2, it pushes you to leave your comfort zone. Elijah was already getting used to the brook, and the brook dried up. He left the comfort zone, went to Zarephath. Whatever pushes you to leave your comfort zone is an opportunity for learning, because a lot of people want to stay in their comfort zone. And I always tell people this: in your comfort zone, anything goes, but nothing grows. Never forget that. In your comfort zone, anything goes, but nothing grows. Right? And then number 3, it offers you access to new information. It offers you access to new information. So this is how you spot opportunities for learning. It fuels your passion, pushes you to leave your comfort zone. It offers you access to new information. Now, see this. Opportunities for learning are all around you every day. You will see it when you are looking for it. You know, scripture says you will find what you seek. Right? Opportunities for learning are all around you every day. You will see it when you start looking for it. When you're not looking for it, you won't see it. But when you're looking for it, you keep seeing it. You see, even in your supposed mistakes lies opportunities for learning. Don't waste your mistakes. Learn from them. Don't waste your mistakes. Learn from them. Because in your mistakes are opportunities for learning. Right? Those who make the most of the opportunities for learning always do better than those who don't. That's the truth. Those who make the most of the opportunities for learning always do better than those who don't. And went on to say that learning to learn from everything and anything shows how open you are to the opportunities for learning around you. And that's why today's conversation, we're going to go in depth into learning, because people really need to understand what learning is all about. Right? And then we went on to say that life offers you opportunities for learning. Whether you take it and use it, it's now up to you. Life offers you opportunity for learning. Whether you take it and use it, it is now up to you. And we went on from that to talk about opportunities will come. Yeah, opportunities will come. You know, one of the beauties of learning is that opportunities come the more you learn. So the more you learn, the more opportunities you have. I'll say that again. The more you learn, the more opportunities you have. Right? So we talked about opportunities will come. You know, I once watched a documentary of Linda Ikeji, who's not Dr. Linda Ikeji, right? Now she said something while she started out what she was doing back in the day. She reached out to brands and organizations for sponsorship, for support, and they didn't. They turned that down. Now, as she grew in what she was doing without their support, they eventually came back offering the same support she had gone to beg for on a platter. And then she said something, they will come. And I listened to that interview and I was like, wow, this is really true. This is really true, because if you keep working on yourself and doing what you need to do for yourself to upgrade, people will eventually come. That's the truth. People will eventually come. And I always tell people this: all who live as friends will return back as fans. Why? Because they will come. And we went on to talk about opportunities will come. And we started out by saying, while many chase opportunities, it is wisdom to prepare and wait, because opportunities will come. Now, see this, guys. Follow me closely. Follow me closely. See, I always tell people this, that every man we have his opportunity to shine. Prepare and wait. Your time will come. Everyone will have opportunity to shine. Just prepare and wait. Your time will come. And we started out this conversation by saying that while many chase opportunities, it is wisdom to prepare and wait, because opportunities will come. And we use the scripture to say, when you look at the story of the wedding in Cana, the servants were ready for the opportunity that came for the miracle of water turning to wine. They were ready. How do I know? When Mary came to the rabbi to inform him of the no wine situation, she told the servants who were standing by that whatever the rabbi tells you to do, you should do it. So the opportunities for the miraculous was coming their way, and that they were ready to make the most of it. The rabbi gave them an instruction, and they just followed through to the last detail without even trying to question the instruction. The instruction would not make sense to someone who has other ideas. But for the one who is open to opportunities, That was all that is needed. And why don't to say that 3 simple ways opportunities will come. Number one, through people, referral, and recommendation. How opportunities will come. Number one, through people's referral and recommendation. So this week, I just got a call from a high network individual and said, "Are you available to help do this?" And I was like, "No problem, let's do this." And that was it. That was it. Right? Why? It will come, opportunities will come through people's referral and recommendation. Number two, it will come because of your diligence and excellence. The opportunities will come because of your diligence and excellence. Very important. And number three, it will come because you stay prepared. Remember the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Opportunities will come because you stay prepared. Went on to say that opportunities will definitely come, but the question is, will you be ready when it comes? Will you be ready when it comes? And we said, nothing brings you so much regrets like when opportunities come, but meets you unprepared. Nothing gives you so much regret that when opportunity comes, it meets you unprepared. You know, I always tell people, you have plans to jackpot, you have plans to leave the country. Do you even have a passport? Because that is the first document you need if you ever need to travel. And most recently, I even found out that if there's a crisis or a war, without a passport, you cannot even leave your country, even if you are in a crisis. So that's the document everybody should have, whether you're traveling or not. But if you even have the idea that you want to travel, you should have that document. But you hear people say, oh, they're planning, they're praying to travel, but they don't even have a passport. You don't even have a passport. So you see, opportunities will come. Nothing brings you so much regret like when opportunities come, but it meets you unprepared. And when to say, while opportunities will come, you must not fail to be able to spot them and be readily available to maximize them. So while opportunities will come, you must not fail to spot the opportunity and be readily available to maximize the opportunity. You know, they say pour, P-O-O-R, it means passing over opportunities repeatedly. So people are poor because they pass over opportunities repeatedly. So while opportunities will come, you must be able to spot them and maximize them. Now we're putting up a class which is called the RIPE Masterclass. It's a train masterclass session, but it's RIPE, R-I-P-E, and it's about relationships, investments, positioning, and excellence. Now, should in case you say, oh, I'm not going to be available to attend, when the class is over, the whole session will be available for you. So you can purchase the course and listen wherever you are in the world, so that you can be able to write, understand relationships, understand investments, understand positioning, and understand excellence. These are very key things for you to understand when it comes to opportunities. And went on to conclude and say that opportunities will come, but when opportunities come, they will not wait for you to be ready. So opportunity is not going to come and be waiting for you to say, okay, get ready, I'm already here, get ready. No, no, no. If you are not ready, opportunity will go to the one who's ready. Right? And went on to conclude and say, opportunities can change your life when it comes, but you must be ready when it comes. Opportunity can change your life when it comes, but you must be ready when it comes. Right? Then we went on to talk about no excuse for lack of preparation. Now, we're talking about opportunities, we're talking about you taking advantage, we're talking about preparation. So, there is actually no excuse for your lack of preparation. See, we're just building on learning, we're just building. And then we started out by saying excuses at its best are good reasons for bad results. You always hear me say this. Excuses at its best are good reasons for bad results. You have no excuse for your lack of preparation. You have no excuse. Like Paul will say in scripture, thou art inexcusable, O man. You have no excuse for your lack of preparation. And we said in scripture, the 5 foolish virgins literally had no excuse for their lack of preparation. The moment they realized that the wise virgins had come with extra oil, that would have been the time for them to go and get their own extra oil. Rather, they did nothing. And when the bridegroom delayed in coming, all the virgins slept, including the wise and the foolish. At the time the bridegroom had showed up, they all woke up, and then the wise put in their extra oils in their lamp and turned on their lamps. And the foolish had no oil. They begged the wise for oil, and the wise said, we can't share this. It will not be enough for both of us. So go and get yours. And this time they went to look for theirs, and by the time they came back, it was already over. The bridegroom had gone in, and with the other people available, and the doors had been shut. You see, sometimes some people just don't understand how just being unprepared would cost them so much later in life. Some people don't understand how just being unprepared will cost them so much later in life. You see, there are 3 simple reasons, no excuse for lack of preparation. 3 simple reasons, no excuse for lack of preparation. Number 1, you had time. The 5 foolish virgins had time to go get extra oil. Even before the bridegroom came, they had time. Number 2, you had opportunities. You had opportunity to have even asked the wise at that time if it's possible to share, not wait till when the bridegroom had come. Number 3, you never took yourself seriously. And this is the part that I really don't understand, especially among young people. They don't just take themselves seriously. They joke with everything. They think everything is vibe and cruise. They joke with everything. And they don't take themselves seriously. It's just sad. It's just sad. You see, your lack of preparation will always show up when opportunities come. Your lack of preparation will always show up when opportunities come. We went on to say that for every excuse you think you have, there are those who had more, yet still prepared. For every excuse you think you have, knowing fully well that excuse at its best are good reasons for bad results, there are those who had more, but yet they still prepared. They still prepared. And sometimes when I look at people and they're like, oh, you turned out right, I'm just like, are you for real? You have no idea. You have no idea. Right? I had every reason to excuse failure. Every reason. But God is faithful. And God is still faithful. But that didn't stop me from preparing for opportunities when they come. Right? You see, when you are not preparing, someone else is. And one day, you both will meet. And you already know what the outcome will be. Remember this. There are no naturally born failures. Failures are self-made. So you have no excuse for your lack of preparation. You have no excuse. You literally have no excuse for your lack of preparation. I wrapped it up by saying you are inexcusable if your opportunities come and you are not prepared. You are inexcusable if your opportunities come and you are not prepared. And finally, we wrapped up the week with the belief system by talking about never stop learning. I know learning is a part of preparation. You never stop learning. Never stop learning. You see, life is a lifelong journey. Until you exit this life, please never stop learning. You know, scripture tells us about Daniel that Daniel said, I understood by books. You see, Daniel was a man who never stopped learning. Daniel kept learning, right? He Even after we stopped hearing about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the other three Hebrew boys, we still kept hearing about Daniel because Daniel never stopped learning. Daniel served four different dynasties from Nebuchadnezzar to Darius. He never stopped learning. You see, it was said of Daniel that he had the spirit of the gods, he had the spirit of excellence. He never stopped learning. Even though Daniel was taken from slavery into Babylon as a slave, but he never stopped learning. He even became the head of the soothsayers, wise men, astrologers in Babylon because he never stopped learning. You have the responsibility to never stop learning because it is what will stand you out and keep you outstanding. You see, there are three simple reasons to never stop learning. Number one, it helps your growth. Number two, it keeps you evolving. See, Daniel said four different dynasties. Four different dynasties keeps you evolving. And number three, it aids your maturing. As you keep learning, you keep maturing. You see, those who stop learning may still be living, but they have long lost relevance and significance. And I hope that doesn't become your story. You see, life is best lived as long as you never stop learning through all the experiences of life. Understand this. When you enjoy learning, it is a proof that you enjoy living because life is about learning. And we said, never stop learning from God, people, places, opportunities, circumstances, etc. Just never stop learning. And we wrapped up the conversation to say, when you stop learning, that is when you start dying. So never stop learning. This is all that we had in our conversation this week through our belief systems. Now let's talk about learning itself. Learning. Learning. Right? Because we say never stop learning. Let's talk about learning. What is learning all about? Now, the L in learning is life. The truth is this: all through your life, you will be learning. Now, whether you're taking the learning seriously or not, all through your life, you're going to be learning. All through your life, there are going to be opportunities for you to learn. The L in learning is life. From the day you breathe your first breath to the day you breathe your last breath, you are going to be learning in life. As long as you are alive, life will be teaching you. That's why it is called life lessons. As long as you're alive, life will teach you. So you should never stop learning because life never stop teaching. So the L in learning is life. The L in learning is life. Because as long as you're alive, you will keep learning. As long as you're alive. The E in learning is experience. You know, people often say this, that experience is the best teacher. But I beg to differ that you can learn from the experiences of others rather than make your own experience. But I know some people have coconut head. They will only learn from their own experience. It's okay. Well, that is part of the learning. The experiences you go through, the significant emotional experiences you go through is part of the learning. So by the time they break your heart, they serve you breakfast, you will not say, all men are scum. That is experience. That is learning. That's the truth, because experiences are part of the learning. Experiences are part of learning. You know, you often hear me say this, that once is a mistake, twice is a choice, thrice is a pattern. In all of this, there are experiences, and experiences are part of the learning. Whether you learn from your experience or you learn from the experience of others, experience are part of learning. And you know the truth, you cannot buy experience in the market. You can't go to the market and order experience. You can't go over the shelf, over the counter and pay for experience. No, it is part of learning. As you learn, you gain experience. You can't download experience as an app. Well, Elon Musk is working on something, so you probably be able to download experience. But until then, you can't download experience. You gain experience by learning, just like being a public speaker, right? The more you speak, the more you gain experience in handling crowds, in managing the stage, in delivering your concept, delivering your presentation. It comes with experience, and that comes with learning. That comes with learning. When you speak to the population of, let's say, 200. Is it when you're speaking to 1,000? It comes with experience. It comes with experience. So the E in learning is experience. The A in learning is your ability. As you're learning, guess what? You are developing your ability. You are refining your ability. You are evolving your ability. You are maturing your ability. So the A in learning is your ability. So as you learn, guess what? Your ability is becoming capacity, is becoming capability, is becoming competency. As you learn, your ability is getting put to use. You know, in the parable of the talent, the master gave them talents according to their ability. So the one who was given 5 got 5 more. The one who was given 2 got 2 more. The one who was given 1 did nothing and brought back the 1. He did not understand that learning is about using your ability. See, no one is born great. You develop your greatness. I'll say that again. No one is born great. You develop your greatness. And your greatness resides in your innate ability. It's in you. Peak is in you. So learning helps you to work on your ability. Helps you work on your ability. Learning. Right? The L in learning is life. The E in learning is experience. The A in learning is ability. Right? The R in learning is responsibility. See, it is your responsibility to learn. It is your responsibility. You cannot hold anyone accountable for you not learning. It's your responsibility to learn. If you don't learn, is just a sign that you are irresponsible. Because the truth is that learning is your responsibility. I always tell people being stupid is a choice, being wise is a choice. None is happening to you by chance. They are both your choices based on your responsibility. Being wise is a choice, being stupid is a choice based on your responsibility. Based on your responsibility. So learning is putting to use your responsibility. That's all. It's putting to use your responsibility. It's your responsibility to learn. It's your responsibility to grow. It's your responsibility to evolve. It's your responsibility to mature. And all of this things happens to you as you are learning. So it's all about your responsibility. Showing up here every Friday, 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. is a responsibility. It's helping me learn. It's helping me learn. If you look back at when we started doing the videos in January, when we came on YouTube, we started YouTube January 5th. Look at the videos we were doing then and look at the videos we are doing now. There have been upgrades. Why? We are learning because we are taking responsibility. See, as much as we wish for greatness, that greatness is waiting for you to take responsibility for it. It's waiting for you to take responsibility. And learning helps you take responsibility for your greatness. It helps you take responsibility for who you are becoming. You know, today while I was sharing with the students at the chapel service at Benson Idaho University, I was telling them about focus and priority. And I told them about 3 things that would help them to focus and prioritize, which is IVR, importance, value, and responsibility. I told them there's no point being busy with so much activity with no productivity. And it's not a rhyme, it's what it is. So you see a lot of people going around campus. Oh, I'm very busy. Oh, I'm very busy. Oh, I'm worn out. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. What have you been doing? Nothing productive. Just being busy. You can be busy watching Netflix. You can be busy doing Naira Bet or Sporty Bet. You can be busy gisting. You can be busy just gallivanting like though you have a Gabagebe spirit. You can be busy about nothing. If you really want to focus and prioritize, you must know what is of importance to you. And we looked at the scripture in Luke chapter 10 from verse 38 to 42, where Jesus got to the house of Mary and Martha, and Martha was busy about the chores, and she got exasperated that Mary was not joining her, and she went to tell Jesus, "Tell Mary to get up and come join me." And Jesus told her, "Martha, oh Martha, you worry about so many things. You are distracted with so many things, but Mary is undistracted." Mary is undistracted. Why? Mary has taken responsibility to sit at my feet to learn. While you are breathing around trying to get food, Mary is eating the real food because he was the bread of life. While you are trying to get bread, Mary was already feeding on bread. Why? Because Martha was busy about so many things. But Mary understood importance. Mary understood value, because I always tell you this. You know what a person values by 2 things: how they spend their time and how they spend their money. That was the same Mary who was able to break the alabaster. Why? Because she understood the importance of the master. And then she took responsibility. See, scripture says, when she broke the alabaster, Jesus told the disciples who were saying, "Oh, what a waste. The money could have been sold, the alabaster could have been sold, and the money given to the poor." And Jesus said, wherever the gospel is being preached, Mary will be mentioned. So she put her name in the hall of fame because she took responsibility. See, guys, learning helps you take responsibility. Literally. And you also must take responsibility for your learning. Nobody's going to teach you. Take responsibility for your learning. So the arrow in learning is responsibility. The first N in learning is nurture. So as you learn, so many things in you are being nurtured. Your character is being nurtured. Your discipline is being nurtured. Your consistency is being nurtured. Right? As you learn, so many things about you is being nurtured. Your customer service is being nurtured. Your people experience is being nurtured. As you're learning, things are being nurtured in you. So the first N in learning is nurture. What is being nurtured in you? Sense is being nurtured in you as you learn. As you learn, sense is being nurtured. So the first N in learning is nurture. There's always something that is being nurtured as you learn. Something is growing. Something is evolving. Something is being nurtured as you learn. A skill is being nurtured. A competence is being nurtured. Right? A trait is being nurtured. There's always something being nurtured as you learn. And you know, the interesting part is this. You can be nurtured in the wrong things and you can be nurtured in the right things. But the truth is, as long as you are learning, something is being nurtured. Something is being nurtured. Because the first N in learning is nurture. And then the I in learning is intentional. Intentional. Every learning is intentional. It must be intentional. You must know what you're learning. You must know why you are learning. You must be intentional. It must be intentional. You must get this into your mindset that your learning must be intentional, which means you must know what you should be learning, where you should be learning it, when you should be learning it, from who you should be learning it. It must be intentional. You can't leave it to chance. It must be intentional. Is this making sense? The learning must be intentional. Like I tell people, be intentional about your personal development. Because let me tell you this, who you become is who you take with you everywhere you go. Because like the Archbishop Benson Idahosa will always say, a lizard in Nigeria will not suddenly become an alligator in America. It is who you are, you take with you everywhere you go. So you must be intentional with your personal development. Because you have no excuse not to be intentional about it. You have no excuse. And in a world where everything is at the press of a button, is on social media, is on the University of YouTube, it can be Google, right? Yeah, AI, there ChatGPT that you can use. You have no excuse not to get involved with your personal development and be intentional about it. The I in learning is intentional. Even God is intentional about you. So why would you not be intentional about your own learning and development? And you see, the second N in learning is necessity. See, the truth is this, is of necessity that you learn. It's of necessity. It is important that you learn. You cannot excuse not learning. You cannot excuse not learning. It's of necessity that you learn. It is so important that you learn. Because the truth is, you will always reflect as a person what you are learning. I must say that again, so it gets into you. You will always reflect as a person what you are learning. So it's of necessity that you learn. You know, someone said something very striking. He said, if it takes you more than 5 minutes to spot a fool, you yourself, you are a fool. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to spot a fool, you yourself, you are a fool. Because learning is of necessity that you learn. So you don't become a fool. So you don't become a fool. So it's of necessity that you learn. And finally, the G in learning is growth. Growth. The truth is, as you learn, there will always be growth. You become a better person. There will always be growth as you learn. You can never remain the same when you learn. Never. There is always be growth when you learn. You look back at your life and you're like, wow, in local palace, you see, na me be this, like, na me be this. Why? Because there is growth when you learn. There's growth. You never remain the same way when you learn. Never. There is always growth when you learn. When learning has occurred, you will see it in the growth. Right? When learning takes place, you see that you stand out, then you become outstanding, then you become the standard. Is this making sense? When learning has occurred, you will see that first you will stand out, and then you now become outstanding, and then you now become the standard. Because growth has happened through the process of learning. So this is what learning is all about. Literally, is what learning is all about. It's about life, it's about experience, it's about your ability, it's about your responsibility, it's about nurture, it's about intentional, it's about necessity, and it's about growth. This is what learning is all about. And this is what we have come to share with you because every day offers you the opportunity for learning. Every day. The question now is, what would you do with the opportunity for learning that life brings your way every day? Meeting people, having conversations, being on social media, all of these are opportunities for learning every single day. Every single day. The question now is, what will you do with the opportunities for learning that life brings your way? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's the question that I want you to answer for yourself. It's a very practical question. It is not rhetorical in any way. It's a question that you need to answer because it's important. Because learning is a lifelong journey. As long as you're on this journey called life, you must be learning. I'll say that again. As long as you're on this journey called life, you must be learning. And this is what learning is all about. It's about life. It's about experiences. It's about your ability. It's about your responsibility. It's about what you nurture. It's about intentional. It's about necessity. And it's about growth. And this is what learning is. And this is why you should be learning. So, guys, let's take a few questions before we call it a wrap for today because we believe this has been worth your while. We believe this has made so much sense for you. But let's take a few questions. So we got a little some feedback while the conversation was going on. So we just put some of the feedbacks on the screen. And someone said, beyond your mistakes are opportunities for learning. Very true. Beyond your mistakes are opportunities for learning. Another feedback that came, it says, instead of chasing opportunities, prepare ahead because opportunities will come and you should be ready to make the most of it. Right? Another feedback that came was ready to be available for that opportunity. Yes, you have to be ready and be available for that opportunity. And then we had another feedback that says learn from experiences. Very important because your experiences are part of the learning. Learn from them, right? Don't be a fool. Don't have coconut head. Learn from experiences. And then we talked another feedback that came No one is born great. Work on your innate abilities. No one is born great. So true. So work on your innate abilities. And then we went on to talk about it is your responsibility to learn. No one is going to help you learn. It is your responsibility to learn. And then we went on to one feedback that came in was you will always reflect as the person what you learn. You will always reflect as a person what you learn. So true. What you learn will be reflected in your personality. So let's take a few questions before we call this a wrap. I hope this has made sense to you. Feel free to always send in your questions, right? We really love to take your questions because this will make so much sense for you and others who will come to watch the replay because your questions will give some people clarity, right? Someone says, in learning from people's experiences, can we be certain always about what is right just from people's experiences? I'll take that question again. In learning from people's experiences, can we be certain always about what is right just from people's experiences? Now, there's this saying that a wise person learns from his experience, a wiser person learns from the experience of others. Now, the question is saying, if we are learning from the experience of others, can we be certain about what is right just from people's experience? Yes, to a very large extent. Right? Let's say, for instance, somebody got into an abusive relationship. So you have seen from that person the traits of abuse. So when you are getting into a relationship, you already know what to spot as red flags because you have seen from that person's experience the traits of abuse. Right? So to a large extent, to a very large extent, you can spot what is right from the experiences of others so that you don't repeat the same mistakes that they made because you did not learn from their experience. So, yes, to a very large extent, you can spot what is right that you can learn from the experience of others. See, it makes no sense repeating mistakes that others have already made. It doesn't make any sense. It's just senseless, right? It's just senseless repeating the same mistakes that others have already made. So yes, you can spot the right lessons to learn from the experience of others so you don't go ahead repeating the same mistakes and getting the same experience you should have learned from the experience of another. And remember, history always repeats itself because people fail to learn from history. Never forget that. History always repeats itself because people fail to learn from history. This is making sense. More questions. One more question before we call it a wrap for the day. Thank you so very much, guys, for being here. You guys are amazing. You are amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We're glad to have you all the time. And please let us know where you're watching us from around the world. This is the Mr. Upgrade Global channel on YouTube. Feel free to follow, to share, to subscribe. So always leave a comment, right? Because we want to see what impact this is making in your life. So please always leave a comment because that really helps us to know how your journey is going on the Upgrade Mastery just for you. Remember, we do this every Fridays from 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. And we basically just share our experiences from the week. We get to unwind and get to prepare for the new week. One of our takeaways from this week is to never stop learning. And that's why we talked about learning today and how it's important for us to continue to learn. Because the truth is this, till the day you die, you should never stop learning. Exactly. Till the day you die, you should never stop learning. So as long as you are breathing, you should be learning. You know that song? As long as I am breathing, I will always worship you. Yes, as long as you keep worshiping. Always keep learning. As long as you are breathing, always keep learning. So, guys, thank you so much for being here. We're super glad that you were here from the beginning to the very end. We have to go now. I always tell you, there's always more on the other side of life. So that's why we encourage you to leave good behind so that you can upgrade. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. And never, never stop learning.